You got people out there who need you. This is why you're here, B.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Not So Superfan. So thanks to AMC, I got to see an early screening of Bumblebee. It's coming out in 2 weeks. So this movie basically takes place in the 80s. But at the beginning of the movie, you do get the war that's going on in Cybertron between the Decepticon and the Autobots, and it's probably one of the, I would say, one of the most iconic part of the movie, because you do get a lot of fan service as far as if you are a fan of Transformers. They do take you back in the days, you know, as far as how the Transformer looked, their design. You get the original design, the Gen 1 design, you know, with the Autobots and the Decepticon. And one thing they do throughout this movie, which they do in the show in the beginning, if you remember back in the day, if you ever watched Transformers, most of the Autobots, there were always cars. There were never, most of, like, I would say 90% of the Autobots were cars, and 90% of the Decepticon were like fighter pilots, jets. They were always flying. So you do get that from the movie. You know, Decepticons fly, Autobots drive. So you do get that in the movie. Also, you do get that one aspect of the Decepticon or Autobots that they could triple change. You know, they could change into their original form, jet, or cars. So there's a lot of fan as far as like homage to the original, because the director Travis Knight, if you guys don't know who he is, he's a director from like Entertainment, and he directed Kubo and the Two String, Box Stroll. If you guys remember that old show, the PJs, he also directed that in Paranorman. So he's from that background of animation as far as when it comes to certain like putting things together when it comes to movies. So you could see those kind of details in this movie as far as how he put certain scenes together. So once again, this movie takes place in the 80s. It follows the story of Charlie Watson, who's played by Haley Steinfeld. And basically, she's this girl. I wouldn't say she's not that tomboyish, but she's a little bit tomboyish. She's into car and stuff like that. And you do get a feel that something is missing from her life at the beginning, and later on you find out her father died, but they don't really go into yeah, they do go in detail how he died, but at the beginning you don't really quite get the feel of, you know, why she's acting the way she's acting until later on in the movie. You find out that her father died and stuff like that, and she's basically into repairing this old car that her dad had, and she's repairing it, you know, so she could drive. And she's driving this old low pedaling motorcycle and stuff like that. And her mom has a new man in her life, and everybody's happy. Her little brother and her mom are happy except for her, and she has to deal with that. And of course, later on, she goes into the junkyard and she finds this yellow car, which of course is Bumblebee, Volkswagen, sorry. And she makes a deal with the junkyard owner, who's also, of course, her uncle, and he basically gives her the car for her birthday. And throughout the process, find out that car is Bumblebee. But before that happens, you know, Bumblebee stumbles in with the military. I'm not going to go into detail, not to try to spoil that much into the movie. Bumblebee does have a bump in with John Cena's character, Agent, what's his name? Agent Burns. He does have a bump in with him, and from that bump in, you see why he's hunting Bumblebee. He doesn't really know if Bumblebee's in the good is here for like to a good alien, or to just to take over the planet. And John Cena does get some good line, and he does have some cheesy line in the movie, like one scene, you know, when they're like going after Bumblebee. He just does have this one scene. It's kind of you know, it wasn't that, you know, serious, but he does have good lines in this movie. but in a whole, the movie felt like I would say it felt like an homage to the old Transformer franchise, and of course like a coming to age type of story that took place in the 80s. You know, there's a lot of 80s song, you know, there's a lot of Breakfast Club type of music, you know, Don't You Forget About Me. There's a lot of one of those aspects in this movie going on, but it does not take away me that much from the movie. But one thing I had a problem with the original Transformers, as far as like Michael Bay, he does a lot of I would say product placement, misogynistic, I would say, type of thing, you know, or over sexualizing women and all that. There was a lot of that in the original Transformers as far as Michael Bay directing. In this movie, you don't really get much of that. It's more of a human story as far as Charlie's character, and of course her relationship with Bumblebee, building that relationship later on, and him having to stop the Decepticons. Even there's this one scene, it's minor spoiler, you know, one of the scientists who works for the military, Agent Powell, is basically he wants somehow they ended up, I'm not gonna spoil, but somehow they ended up working with the Decepticon. He calls it out, you know. He basically says something about the Decepticon that's like, yeah, you know, it makes sense what he said. I'm not gonna spoil it, but it makes sense. It's like one of the scenes. But in a whole, the movie does have this its moment where it feels slow, like, you know, when's the next scene's gonna happen, when it's gonna get exciting. But it's still an enjoyable movie. You still feel that nostalgia. If you grew up watching Transformer back in the days, you do get that nostalgia feel. The beginning of the movie with the battle with the Decepticon and the Autobots is really cool. You do get a scene from Optimus Prime, who also is played by Peter Cullen, original voice. Even Angela Bassett is in this movie. She plays one of the characters, Shatter, which is one of the main villains that focus on her and I forgot the other character's name, but her and the other but you do get a lot of old Autobots and Decepticon in this movie that you if you remember as a kid. And come to find out, Bumblebee was also voiced by Dylan O'Brien in this movie, so it was pretty surprising. But in the whole, once again, the movie is a good movie. It's not the best Transformer movie. No, I would say this and the first Transformer, and the first Transformer, this one, then the first Transformer. This movie is really good. I really enjoyed it. Really surprising how the route they're going. It looked like they're kind of retconning a lot of things from the original Transformer franchise. So hopefully the route they're going brings back, you know, the fandom when it comes to Transformers. In the whole, guys, I'm gonna give this movie a B-. Definitely check out Bumblebee coming out in 2 weeks. I think 21st. Really enjoyable. Once again, I gave it a B-. Definitely check it out. And I will be seeing y'all soon with more reviews and reaction.